Hello. I'd like to talk about being protective. So I have a younger sister, and I was very protective of her until she was into her adult years in terms of relationship with boys. And I think that is looked at sometimes in our society as a sweet thing and a good thing. And after she got a nice boyfriend, I let go of that. And then, I was also in relationships, so I would be protective of the person I was with, kind of like, Papa Lion, Mama Lion kind of stuff, if that makes sense. And
protective meaning focused upon what could go wrong.
Yep.
And standing as best you could in a position to prevent it.
Exactly. So my wife, who's an neighbor, and we met on the cruise, she had said to me early on in our relationship that I'm always safe and protected, and kind of in line with the stuff, Jerry says with everything's always working out for me, and what you say as well. So that gave me a lot of relief, but I still have a little bit of resistance with that at times. And so it comes to the zip line. We went on the 700-meter zip line. So I believe there was 7 zip lines before you get to the 700-meter adrenaline line. And the day before, I knew my wife was interested in going on this. I'd already been on the zip line in Costa Rica a few years ago, so I felt very comfortable with it and that it's safe and everything. But my wife was looking forward to doing something very adventurous. And this seemed like a good way to see, rainforest, be with friends, and do something adventurous. So this was great.
What's this adventurous thing you've got going?
So
adventure when it's the next logical step doesn't feel adventurous. Adventurous is a big jump.
Mm-hmm.
Adventurous is overcoming boredom or overcoming something, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think she was okay with it for the most part, but I was a little bit protective. I felt that. So we get there, and I'd asked her, "Are you sure you want to do this? Sure you want to do this?" And completely, her eyes lit up. I went and I bought the tickets, and when she came back to the room, she saw them, and she almost jumped to the roof. We're going, this is so great. So that was good. But I, again, felt protective. So we get on the line, and it was like the 3rd or 4th line, and I'm going down, done this before, and there's nothing, she would go before me, then I would come.
Oh, sure, let her clear the trees.
Yeah, now you're making me feel bad. I'm supposed to be protective again. So, it was so I could watch the shoes. All right, so she goes down, I get in. It was just a short line, so there was one gentleman jumping back and forth between 2 lines, catching us, then going to the next line. So when I get there, he's not quite there to catch me yet, so I come flying in, and I turn, and then the wire goes right along my nose and gives me a little cut. Nothing, didn't hurt or anything, it's a souvenir, right?
It's actually quite adventurous.
So then we had a quick, good laugh in between as we were getting ready for the next one, and I just realized what I knew from sports, which is if you're looking at your teammate while you're playing, you get smoked, and, it doesn't help, and then they score on you and everything else. So I said, okay, I'm going to calm myself down. I'm just going to focus on my experience. She's always safe and protected, like she said. We had a great time. We got to the last one, which was the 700-meter adrenaline line, and my wife became a little bit nervous after she saw how far it was and saw that no people were making it all the way to the next deck, and they had to rope them in, right? So I kind of tried to soothe her, feeling that protective feeling again, then reminded myself. Then this gentleman showed up who did something called a cannonball, and he was one of the instructors, and he did it before anyone went, and it looked pretty cool. He was kind of looking upside down like a cannonball when you jump into a pool. So we were one of the last groupings going, and so my wife started asking, I want to do that then, because she wanted to get to the other end of the deck. So now it was I thought she was scared of fears, but now she wants to go and do the most advanced, cannonball to get down the zip line. So I say, honey, are you sure? And so I let go, see her do it, and boom, she puts her knees up, and she's doing the cannonball going down. Now, I just let go, and I said, wow, if my wife is doing this, why do I keep worrying so much? So I put my knees in the cannonball and ended up going down, and when you're in the cannonball, you can't see down as much without looking, but I really wanted to make it to the other end of the platform, and then all of a sudden this voice came in my head that said, wait for it, wait for it. And then all of a sudden I heard all these people clapping and cheering, and then I looked up and we're right at the platform. And it was the instructors cheering like, holy cow, you did it, or whatever, right? Next person behind me is a good buddy of mine, and he does the same thing, and he comes, and it's like, that 4-minute mile story. It seems like now everybody can do it. My wife does it, then I do it. So I guess I want relief on this protectiveness, though, because, again, it's romantic to be protective, and I have no problem with that, and I feel like a line inside, but I notice when I let go of the protectiveness, I can shine my light very bright, and then, that feels good.
Well, again, we're talking about relationship. We're talking about relationship, one emotion to another. So we're just going to ask you a series of questions. Would you rather feel aware or unaware?
Aware.
Would you rather feel alert or confused?
Alert.
Would you rather feel guarded or secure?
Secure.
Would you rather believe in the well-being of your wife, or would you rather believe in her vulnerability?
Well-being.
Would you rather be aware of her well-being or unaware of her well-being?
Well aware, yeah.
So is it possible that some of what you are calling wariness, our words, or protective, could be awareness of her well-being? Mm-hmm. In other words, is it wrong for you to desire her well-being? No. And is it possible, when you do desire someone's well-being, for you not to be aware that there is another end of the stick? Mm-hmm. In other words, it's always this relationship thing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So there are people who are completely oblivious to what's happening to people around them. In other words, they have no interest. They could all be crashing into the pillar at the end, and they wouldn't notice. And there are people who, so it's sort of like asking which is more comfortable, blame or guilt, when both of them are terrible choices. But what we're really getting at here is that it isn't inappropriate for you to feel desire for the well-being of someone, and it also is not possible for you to want something without the other end of the stick sometimes being activated. The real deliberate creator is someone who doesn't try to never feel negative emotion, but who understands it when it comes, and who incrementally adjusts. In other words, that's what you were doing there. Every step along the way in this story that you offered as it unfolded was perfect evidence of your awareness of how to effectively use your own guidance system. In other words, every bit of it played out just the way you were feeling it, even to the point of bumping your nose a little bit when you had your nose, and this analogy is not lost on any of us, when you had your nose in someone else's business, you see.
Yeah.
But in fairness, you can't love someone without your nose being in their business, because you're rooting for their success. And in even more fairness, you can't root for the success of someone without knowing that the other end of that is also a possibility. And so when you are, Jerry always talks about how he just wants to keep the odds up. In other words, he knows that well-being is likely for him, but he is a conscious creator. He makes decisions. He always makes the decision that he believes will leave him and those who are near him in the path of least resistance. This is what deliberate creation is, you see. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we think it is magnificent that your mate tenderly understands the loving attention that you give her, and that she constantly, and it is something that she often does, soothes you by reminding you of her strength and clarity and stance of well-being. And it is sort of cute and romantic to be fussing over someone, but as you know, it's the whole point of the story that you are telling to us. You just don't want to get carried away with that, because the other end of that is a sort of protectiveness that says, I protect you because I see that you cannot protect yourself. Or I protect you because I don't think that you are smart enough to follow your own guidance system. And that is not what you mean to convey, and it's not what you believe about her at all. But we also want to say to you that there was a particle of that in your vibration that she set out to soothe. And did she ever soothe it big time? In other words, she soothed it big time. She stepped into adventure, embraced it fully, succeeded completely in her utter alignment, you see, and helped you work out the last bugs in this relationship thing.
Yes.
And nothing is more exhilarating for us to see than two people independently aligned with their own inner beings, co-creatively interacting for the purpose of helping each other come into greater clarity about alignment. We think it is a perfect unfolding.
Yes. Teaching with example.
Because words don't teach, do they?
Yeah.
Words don't teach.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
We offer lots of words.
Yeah.
But it is your life experience that makes this conversation rich, because you don't know what you haven't had vibrational access to. And someone saying it does not necessarily give you access to it. Very good.
Thank you so much.
What could possibly be left undone?